I mean, what are the intricacies that the administration is going to have to go through in this landing team in handing over from Obama to Donald Trump?
Well, you know, the landing team did get a late start, as did all of them, but they seem to be a large group now with Charles Miller. I think that makes 8 or 9 members, and they have a very short time to review what's happening at NASA and recommend new leadership for the agency as well as policies. I think that the team itself is split between a handful of people who are traditionalists, who would like to see the status quo cost-plus contracts perpetuated, and some of these new people who would like to do what the Obama administration, what we tried to do more of at the beginning, but ran into Congress. So it'll be interesting to see if they have more luck.
Marco, talk to us about the potential split here, as Laurie was discussing, and who potentially wins out. Is it going to be the likes of SpaceX, the likes of Blue Origin coming from Jeff Bezos? Or is it the older guard? Is it still going to be the likes of Boeing and Lockheed Martin who are behind the alliance at the moment?
Well, look, I think this will develop over time. I don't think anything's going to change dramatically over the next year or so, but I think that clearly there are two camps. One that has a preference toward NASA continuing to lead the way, to create a vision for what to do in space, and then you have this new approach, which is really more of a partnership between NASA and private industry, and even perhaps even letting private industry take more of a visionary kind of lead. Traditionally, NASA has had a harder time coming up with a vision over the long term and sticking with it. Not that it's its fault. A lot of times Congress comes along and changes things from administration to administration. But I think what you're going to see now is private industry kind of setting the tone a little bit more than certainly in the last half century. And my sense is that given what we've seen from Mr. Trump's talk, he's going to have more of a preference for letting commercial industry take more of a leading role.
Laura, you were talking about perhaps some of the blockades the Obama administration came across during their particular rule over NASA. What could be the positive outcome? What would you like to see in terms of the legacy Obama had and how that might unfold under Trump?
Well, I do think we have got a foothold with these commercial companies, and they've had some successes, and that there will be no turning back. The question is really one of balance. Are you going to have, as we do now, the majority of the funds going toward cost-plus contracts to build a very large rocket that doesn't really have a destination, that takes $3 billion a year to go in maybe the mid-2020s and on in the mid-2030s to Mars? Or do you allow the private industry to be able to compete to do those missions? And I think it is something that we hoped we could do, to have the private sector more involved, to have the government role be more of a technology driver. And I think the one bright spot, perhaps, of a Trump administration, hard for me to say, would be that they will stand up to Congress and say, no, the contracts in your district are not worth halting the space program over, or at least slowing the space program over, and that they will allow the entrepreneurs and even the Boeings and Lockheeds who want to be more entrepreneurial to compete.
So, Marco, what gets prioritized in terms of in the next 2, 4, 8 years? What will we see achieved by NASA, do you think?
Well, look, a lot of this, the future of where we're going with space will be determined by what the decision will be with regard to the Space Launch System, the SLS. That's a huge program. As Laurie said, it takes up somewhere between $2 to $3 billion a year. This is a $10 billion program, at least through 2018. If the decision is to keep that program going, even at the same time as other companies like SpaceX are developing similar types of rockets, then we'll know that the shift toward more of a public-private partnership, having commercial industry lead more of the way, isn't going to happen very quickly. However, if the SLS is canceled, then we kind of know where we're going.